Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I've got another block for you. This one is called Aunt Addie's album block, and this is another 12-inch block. It's a 9-patch. This is a 4-patch block, so it's a little bit different, but you can see we've got some quarter square triangles here and one big centerpiece. So this one actually goes together pretty easily. It's not as difficult as it looks. So I hope you'll stay with me and I'll show you how to make the Aunt Addie's album block. Here are the fabrics you're going to need to make Aunt Addie's album block. For A, you will need one 6.5-inch square. B is two 4.5-inch squares. C is two 4.5-inch squares, D is four 4.5-inch squares, and E is four 3.5-inch squares. Now you'll need to draw diagonal lines on the wrong side of the B and the D squares, because we're going to make a quarter square triangle unit from these. So let's go to the sewing machine and get started. Okay, when you make quarter square triangles, first thing you're going to do is to make half square triangles. And we're going to use the B and the C squares. And on the B squares, I drew a diagonal line on the wrong side because this is the lighter fabric as opposed to the C fabric. So we're going to make half square triangles from these. So we're going to put them right sides together. And this C fabric is directional. So you can take that into consideration. I'm going to lay them both in the same direction, and then I'm going to put my half square triangles with my squares with the line drawn on the diagonal line going in opposite directions. And I'm just going to see if that will help give me the stripes all in the same direction. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch away from this drawn line on both sides. So we'll just go ahead and stitch those. And I'll flip it around, sew on the other side. And I'm going to do the same with this set. Just line up my raw edges here as best as I can. Okay, so let's take these out, and now I'm going to cut them apart on that drawn line. So this will give me 4 half square triangles. And I'm not going to trim these down. These will be oversized, but I'm not going to trim these down right now because I need to sew on the D squares. But I do want to press these open, so I'm going to press them towards the darker fabric. Okay, I'm going to put these two right sides together, the D square with the half square triangle, and line up those raw edges. And you can see there's extra down here, and that's okay. I just oversized this piece. In the directions, I'll probably cut that size down a little bit so that you don't have so much leftover fabric. But I've got the seam here going horizontal, and then when I turn it, this one is going vertical, so they're crossing each other. And now I'm going to sew 1/4 inch away from this drawn line on both sides again. Now normally when you make half square triangles, or normally when you make quarter square triangles, you would be using 2 sets, and you would put them this direction. The colors would be opposite each other, so when you open them up, you'd get the quarter square triangle, because you would sew this direction across that seam. So it's the same concept, only this second set of half square triangles is just a single piece of fabric instead of being a half square triangle. Okay, turn around and do this side. Okay, and I'll show you when you open this, you've got that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart. Right on that drawn line. Okay, so here we have this, and of course this needs to be squared up. And the same here. And these need to measure 3.5 inches. So I'm going to get the clearly perfect slotted trimmer, and I'll trim those up and then I will press. So I'm going to go ahead right now and finish the rest of these half square triangles. Okay, I'm going to line my center line up with the seam here, and then this seam line is going to line up with the 3.5 inch line here. And I'm going to move this over. There's a little dent right there, it's in the way. Okay, so here is my unit. So it's not exactly a quarter square triangle, but these two are half of a quarter square triangle. This is a half square triangle. So this is the unit we're looking for. Okay, so now I'm ready to put the block together. So I want to lay it out because these squares we have here there's two different orientations. You can see that here. So I'm going to make two separate piles of them. Some have the pink on the left side, some have them on the right. Okay, so I've got my two sets, and here's my center. My center is directional, so I'm going to keep that in mind. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my corners, which are the E-squares. And now with these, what I need to do is to watch how they go here. So this one I need the reverse of that one, like this, so that the blue pieces go towards the center and the pinks go towards the corner square. Just like that. and this way and this way. This way and that way. So I'm going to check it over really closely to make sure I've got it all right. So all the blues should be lining the center, and then the pink star points are on the outside. So that looks correct. So now I'm going to have a row here. I'm going to sew these two together to make sides, and then sew them to the center, and then sew that row together, and then I will sew all 3 rows to each other. So I'm going to start first by sewing these together. So I'll adjust the camera and you can see that being done. Okay, so these 2 seams need to line up, and they're both pressed the same direction. So if you want to, you can press one in the opposite direction so that those seams will nest. Just like that. That'll make for a nicer point right there. So here I have one set and the second set. Let me cut this off. And there's the second set. So I'm going to press these, and then I'll sew the first row together. Okay, so now I'm going to sew the rows together, and I have seams to match here. So I'm going to just put in a couple of pins. And I also have these 2 points that need to match, so I'm going to see if I can get that to work also. And you can do that by pinning right through the point of one and into the point of the other. Which may be a good thing for this one. Okay, and I'm going to press, and we'll look at the block. And here's what we have so far. Okay, here is the completed Aunt Addie's album block, and I think it turned out pretty well. So the trick with this one is to treat these sections like a quarter square triangle by making half square triangles here, and then adding this square, and then finishing it up like a quarter square triangle. So and then the center is just all one piece. So that's about all there is to it. Now when I pressed I did press seams in opposite directions, so you can see one is pressed up, this one is pressed down, and that way these two seams nested together down here, and that helped form a nice point down there. And then when I sewed on the rows, so the rows together, I matched these points up here, these here, and that also helped. So it wasn't a difficult block at all. It looks different. It looks a lot more difficult than what it is. So I hope you'll give this block a try. Okay, that is it for the Aunt Addie's album block. So that one went together really pretty well. Wasn't difficult. The trickiest thing is doing these quarter square triangles, and actually it's you know, one step less than making a regular quarter square triangle. So anyway, I hope you'll give this one a try. I think it's really interesting, and you could do anything you want to in the center. You could even divide this up if you wanted and piece it a little bit more. There's probably a block like that and it's got a different name, but you know, just do whatever you want to do with this one. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And in the meantime, I hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links, and to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.